Chris.
And I'm Chris.
And this is
Mike Fight. Let's get it on.
Episode 20, More Media Lies. Chris, hit us up.
So I don't know if you all been following this one, but Project Veritas, which is one of the few outlets out there that actually does any type of undercover journalism and tries to find the truth, they recently just got suspended off of Twitter indefinitely, basically for releasing video of CNN technical director Charlie Chester was his name. Basically admitting he's admitting that CNN is or was lying about Trump, putting out fake stories because their number one motive last year, their number one plan was to get Trump out of office. That was their sole purpose as a news organization, was do whatever you had to do to get Trump out of office.
And that was clearly admitted in the video.
Yeah, well, 100%. And
he actually said it verbatim.
Yeah,
verbatim.
they
their whole goal.
Their whole goal.
Get him out of office.
Yeah, by any means, really. I mean, that's what it comes down to. You could watch all last year. You could see all the stories that came out against Trump, and probably 99% of them, if not all of them, were either fake, made up, or had some kind of skew to the story that you could basically arguably say that it changed the entire outlook of the story and made it fake. I mean, basically, that's what it comes down to.
Charlie.
So,
what do you got over there, Charlie?
Now, for those who still don't believe that big tech is in the pockets of Democrats, if you don't believe that still, again, you're living under a rock, because right on cue, Project Veritas drops these videos of this guy admitting it with his own words. They're not edited videos. They're not cut. They're not fabricated. This guy is literally on tape saying this stuff. What does Twitter do on cue? Suspend Project Veritas' account indefinitely. Why?
What was their reasoning?
I believe that one of the reasoning that they gave was that they were saying that Project Veritas was running fake accounts.
Fake accounts. So the truth is now fake.
Yeah.
Right is now wrong. Wrong is now right. Up is now down, and down is now up. All the things we can think, if only we try. That's Dr. Seuss. I'm sorry, I'm canceled.
Yeah, it's
canceled.
You're not allowed.
So this is what I see as a problem, and what should be seen, I believe, as a problem. You have a news organization that isn't necessarily just reporting news. They are steering. They are steering a story. They are steering coverage for a particular outcome. The guy literally 100% admits that their whole goal was to get Trump out of office. Mm-hmm. So they're going to steer or engineer storylines that reflect a certain narrative to an end, to a particular outcome, and in this case, to get Trump out of office. Their viewership, since Trump has been out of office,
tanked.
Tank isn't even a word.
Yeah.
Like I think crash and burn comes to mind. Lower than low.
Over 50%. I think they're close to 60 to 65% down.
Drop in viewership since Trump is gone.
Yeah.
They no longer have their figure to push them to new heights, I guess. The coverage is gone. Why? Because people knew. People actually wanted to see what was going on, what they can honestly say was bad about Trump.
Yeah.
Now Trump isn't there, and they got Sleepy Joe, who doesn't come out.
No.
He doesn't come out.
Or Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has done one address since she's been in office.
I think she went like 24, 25 days ever since she got tapped for the border thing.
Right.
Before giving a press conference.
She gave one press conference before that, and now she hasn't given one since. So you have her, and you have the president of the United States who's given one
I think he went
press
65,
conference.
66 or 65 days
Yeah.
without giving.
Nowhere.
The longest in history. Who's called him out? They were news outlets calling him out, and I think even CNN got to a little point where they were like, "Listen, Mr. President, where the hell are you?" Okay.
Yeah, they do. They always throw in there, though. They just come up with excuses and reasons,
Right.
though. That's the problem. Is they don't just say, like, yeah, it's been
Right.
X amount of days, X amount of weeks, whatever. They'll come up with reasons and excuses and fill, a 3-page article with a bunch of fluff when all they really need is 4 lines to give you what you need.
And here's the point: this Project Veritas has literally gotten this individual from CNN, this Charlie Chester, on tape saying flat out, this is what we did. This is how we approached it. This is how you approach a situation. I think he actually goes into description as to what sells, what drives, what doesn't drive emotion, what type of constant bad
He
doesn't
said
get
fear
you any.
sells.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what he said. And you know what the funny thing is I think how they got him too on tape is I think this guy went out on a Tinder date. Did you hear
was
that?
that it?
I think so. I think
that
there
really
was a
what it was?
report that he was on like a fake Tinder date.
Oh, so
And-
not only is that this guy's boasting to a chick,
Yeah.
he's boasting his
Yeah.
he's trying to flaunt his stuff to a chick.
Because they don't they just don't care. Like that's how blatant and just disregarding they are of just reality and truth and facts. Is here he is on a
Charlie's
a date.
on Tinder.
He thinks he's gonna get laid that
Oh,
night.
he's
So
Tinder.
hey, I'm gonna brag to this chick about what I
Maybe
do there and what
he
I
was talking
did.
to Solwell. Maybe that's it. He was talking to Solwell, and he was trying to get into the with the little Chinese chick there, and get something out of China. I don't know, whatever. But I'm just saying, hey, Charlie,
It's
go over
stupid.
there on Tinder.
It's so stupid that's what takes this guy down.
But
that, a
take him
Tinder
down.
date.
Is it really going to be taking him down?
No, because
Is
CNN doesn't care.
really going to have to start changing their ways because oh my God, they figured us out. They know
This ain't
they're
the
onto
first
us.
time that Project Veritas
No.
has gotten CNN people
No,
on
they got
tape.
the big guy,
They had what's his name?
the CEO, whatever his name.
Yeah.
was. I forget his name.
Jesus, I just slipped my mind.
But they got the video conference or the news conference, right? They have a meeting, and every week they go over what the story and what the narratives is going to be. The guy snuck on, right? Project Veritas got access
Yeah, to the meeting.
and was
Yeah.
recording the meeting,
Yeah.
and then kind of butted in the meeting. Hey, this is guy from Project Veritas, blah blah blah, and they were like, "Oh, meeting ended.
Yeah.
Gotta go."
See you later. With that, we're done with this meeting now, because again, they got busted giving away what they plan on doing, and it's because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There could be a bus full of orphans tomorrow that gets driven off a cliff by a CNN director, and CNN will come out the next day and go, yeah, we had him get in the bus and we told him to drive it off the cliff, and we just wanted to have a story to sell, and that's the way we did it. And people would just be like, okay,
That's it.
whatever. Maybe they'd be outraged for a couple of days, and then it just goes away, and they're back to business as usual. Because they believe that they're that untouchable, that they can just fabricate stories, they can manipulate narratives, and nobody cares. This guy will probably end up getting a promotion because of
probably
this.
get a promotion. Let me ask you this: do you think that if they're who owns CNN right now?
No idea.
Because
No idea.
If your viewership, let's say you owned a station, or you were let's say you were a reporter, and you had your own show, okay, and your viewership went from, I don't know, let's say 1,000. Let's just make numbers easy. 1,000 people every night, and then all of a sudden your viewership tanked, and now you had only 200 people watching every night. Would you still have a show?
No. Not at
No,
all.
right? So how is it that CNN, who has a very large viewership, all of a sudden drops by 60%, let's say? How is it that they're still a network? How? Can somebody tell me that?
Donors. Big donors. That's what it is. I mean, they already. That's another thing that came out last year is guys like George Soros pay millions and millions of dollars to these organizations, these news networks, to keep them afloat.
That's now you hit something.
And it's Turner is the company. Turner Broadcasting. They're the ones who own CNN. But I mean, even look at like the airports, right? The airports cut the contract, right? Didn't they not renew the contract with CNN?
I think they
to
did.
have them constantly played on their TVs in the airports. So you lost that, which is probably one of your biggest contracts ever.
Your biggest one.
Your viewership is down over 50%. More specifically, shows like Chris Cuomo, Don Lemon, and Brian Stelter are down dramatically. Stelter's on the verge of having less than 1 million viewers a night on his show, and yet they still keep these news organizations going, and they want to keep companies like Fox News and OAN off TV, canceled off of broadcasting.
Newsmax.
Yeah, and why? When their viewership is still climbing, still higher than any of those news networks ever fucking hope that they would have. And yet these companies are still around. Why? Because you have big donors like George Soros and ActBlue who give money to these news organizations because they need them. They're their mouthpiece.
That's the point. If you wanted to just say the truth, that's all. Just report the news. That's what CNN was supposed to be. They were just supposed to be a place where you can go and get the news, whether it be bad news, whether it be good news. It was just news. That's it. I don't need you trying to steer my thinking one way or the other. How about you let me just think for myself?
Well, you know what the problem is before 1996, when Fox News came around, all you had really was CNN, right? That's what everybody really listened to was CNN.
Yeah, and then any local news outlet. And
whatever your local news outlet was at the time. But CNN was the big one. Everyone tuned into Larry King. Like that, that was the big shot that back then. And what happened was when Fox News was created, now you had an alternative news station who was reporting the same stories as you, maybe the same narrative, maybe a different narrative that night, depending on the story, whatever. But it was a contrast to what CNN was reporting. And as Fox News grew, CNN started to get scared. Now, in this era, you have other organizations like Newsmax, you have OAN, that have now come to fruition, who are also challenging the views of CNN, the stories that they're reporting. And on top of that, now you have individual journalists and people like podcasters who are now have their own reporters and researchers who are going out there, and they're challenging. So prior to 1996, they were able to just go on TV, tell you whatever the hell they wanted, and what they said was God. That was it. Their word was their bond. You believed it. That's all you had to go on. But now there's so many different avenues that you can take to get the same story, but a different perspective or a different set of facts, or the facts in a lot of cases, because they like to leave out the facts. And so now they're getting crushed from every angle. And so instead of just admitting that what they're doing is wrong and trying to just report the news, they are doubling down. They have to double down. Them and MSNBC gets in with them, and you get ABC and all these other smaller outlets who just band together because they need to double down and stick to their strategy. Because if not, these other news organizations, these other groups of people, podcasters, independent journalists, researchers, they are just going to bury these companies where no one's going to want to watch them anymore. And you're seeing it. Their ratings are tanking. People don't care what they have to say anymore. Even people who support them don't care what they have to say.
I don't watch you, but I support you.
Right. And part of the problem is like you said, Trump is gone. Right. Nobody cares what Joe Biden has to say, even his supporters, because everybody...
They didn't vote for him because of him.
Right.
They voted for him because they didn't like Trump.
Exactly. So nobody cares what they have to say or report about Biden.
And now they don't like what Biden's doing.
Exactly.
So now they're switching over to an individual organization that is going to report things on what the current administration is doing, and not what, let's just sugarcoat everything, right?
Yeah.
CNN was the bash Trump. Trump's no longer there. What the hell is actually going on? Who's now the president? Have we even seen him? Where is he? Sleepy Joe, will you wake up? Wake up, Joe. It's time to come out of the closet. Wake up, Joe. Come on.
Yeah, but nobody cares anymore. They just don't care. And they'd rather just stay ignorant and out of the loop than tune in and listen to what these people have to say.
Media lies. Media lies.
Project Veritas has their own website, and them as well as other groups are always going to nail these organizations to the wall. So Twitter can ban them all they want. They tried doing it with the president also. One way or another, their words are going to get out. The truth is still going to get out, and people are still going to find it. So,
with that, we're out. I'm Chris.
And I'm Chris. And this is where we drop the mic.